Let's take a look at the selector switch jog circuit. We're actually going to be doing this one in a lab later on, but we'll run through it real quick to be sure you understand. So once again, we're going to have a memory circuit, standard start-stop, and it's going to have the 2-to-1 transformer. So I'm gonna come on down. I'm gonna draw my transformer, my industrial control transformer. And if you remember, this is my line 1 right here, and my line 2. So across here, apparently we have 240 VAC running across there. And if I go ahead and label these, I got my H1, my H3, my H2, and my H4. Okay, and so because we're going 2-to-1, once again, if we were doing 4-to-1, they'd be in series here, but we're going parallel with these to get a 2-to-1. So then that's my primary. On my secondary over here, I've got my X1 and my X2, and because it's ungrounded, we're going to put fuses on each side, and we'll put one fuse here, and my second fuse right here, and then here are my rails for my ladder logic. Okay, so it is a standard start-stop circuit. So what we're going to do is we're going to come and we're going to run to a stop button, and we might call that 1 PB. We could further label it stop, 1 PB stop. And then we're going to need a start button to turn this on, so we could go 2 PB, and that would be start. And then we're going to turn on a control relay or a motor starter. I guess we'll turn on a motor starter like that. Okay, and so that would switch on the motor starter, which would turn on a motor. And we want to have a selector switch for a jog. So the way that you do that is you're going to bring your holding contacts down here, which would be your 1MS. But we're also going to put a selector switch in here. Okay, and this will be 1SS, and we can call it jog/run. Okay, and then this would come up. So my parallel, instead of holding contacts right here, it would have a selector switch that if we selected it, we could close or open the memory, the parallel part of the circuit that's for memory. Okay, so what we'll do is we now need to do some wiring. 1, and I'm just looking at 2 right there. That's all I've got. And so I'm going to have wire 1, wire 2. It looks like all this right here is a 3rd wire. And it looks like I've got, I can put a 4th wire right here if I want. It looks like there's going to be a wire right here, 5th wire. And that's the same part of that wire right there. This contact associated with this is on run 2. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hook this up. So if I bring this up here, I'm going to start with my transformer. I got my contacts for my transformer primary right here. And so I'm going to bring my power supply in, and I'm going to go to my line 1 and my line 2 there. I then need to jumper these in parallel, so this one, H1, is getting hooked to H3. That's right there. And then I'm going to go H2 to H4 right there. Okay. So then what that says is that my secondary will provide my voltage right here. That's the way that this one works. And remember, it's fused right here, so there are my fuses. So this is going to be my left rail, and that's going to be my right rail. So I've got power going to the normally closed of a stop push button. So if I come up here with a short one, I can go from there to the normally closed of a stop push button to the left of that. The right of the stop goes to the normally open of the start. So I come right here. The left of the push button goes to the start button right there. The start then goes across to the motor starter. Well, we're not going to use the motor starter. We're just going to use a relay, because a motor starter would be, a little more bigger, more complicated version of a relay. So we're going to go to the relay coil, which is right here, and then the relay coil goes back to 2. Okay, so we can get a short jumper here. Right there, it's the other side of that control relay, and it goes back to the other side of the power right there. Okay? So that's what we have going right there. So we got this first rung done. Now, to get the memory, remember, we have to parallel the normally open on the start. Okay, so I'm going to get 2 leads right here, and I'm going to stack them on top of each other here, just like this. And now we got to figure out where these 2 leads right here go. So the first lead is going to go to the open contacts of the motor starter. So I take the first lead right here and take it to the normally open contact of a motor starter. That's going to be here and here. That goes through the switch of the starter. Well, then this then goes to the jog. Okay, so when I take this over to the jog, I have the set of contacts here and these set of contacts here. Remember, these don't have a normal position. It depends on which way this is switched when you come up to it. So if we wanted the jog to be to the left, as shown here, that would be open. And we could fluke this out and get continuity on it and figure out what's going on. But what we're going to do is we'll just test it, and then if it's not right, we can switch to their contacts. So coming out of this selector switch, then it then goes back to the other parallel, which is the lead that we've already got hooked in. So we're going to put that right here. So at this point, when I come and I turn my power on, if this is open, as indicated here, when I push the button, that should come on, and when I let go, it should go off. There should not be any memory. And that's the way that this is working on mine. Yours might be wired differently. You could switch the toggle or move the contacts, depending on what you've got drawn. Now, when I switch this over this way, I'm moving to the run, and that should be closing it. So at this point, when I push the button, this should stay on. And it did. It is held. In order to shut it off, I have to hit the stop button. So start, stop. But when I'm in the jog mode, I don't have to hit the stop mode. It just will cycle that. Oh, it will just cycle the relay only while I'm pushing the button. Okay, so that was your basic start in jog selector switch circuit.